Come and make the little storage case with me from Howl's Moving Castle. You don't catch it very often, but here it is on the table when they were having breakfast. We're going to start with a 3-inch square of cardstock. Measure in 1 centimeter and mark it. The width of this case is going to be the same width as my ruler, so I'm going to use it as a reference and mark my lines. Then I'm going to mark 1 more centimeter, the same as the other side. Now I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to mark 3 increments of 1 centimeter. And I'm going to label the sides and bottom just for you guys to see. Here you can see all the sides should be 1 centimeter. And this part is going to be the top. Now I'm going to cut it out and set it aside. Now I'm going to cut a slit on these lines, stopping when it touches the perpendicular line. And then I'm going to cut a small sliver out of those side corner pieces, making sure that I don't cut into the middle square. And now I'm just going to fold on all of the remaining lines. And these corner squares are the flaps that we're going to use to glue the box, so I'm trimming those down a little bit. I'm not using too much glue. It's a miniature, so we use miniature amounts of glue. Now I use tweezers to pinch it shut and make sure that it's really tight. I actually hold it for about 30 seconds to a minute. I sped this part up, of course. And now it's time to do the lid. Note that the case is 1 centimeter deep. We'll need to carry that measurement into the lid. My paper for the lid is 4 centimeters, so I'm marking halfway. And then I'll mark a 1/2 centimeter on either side of that to equal 1 centimeter. And I will follow through onto the other line and do the same thing. And you can see that it equals 1 centimeter. And following those side markers that I made, I'm going to draw a line across the paper. Following these same steps, you can make pretty much any size box that you want, which is pretty cool. I want my little case to have a curved lid, so I'm going to draw curved lines like this. Not touching that center line. You want your curves to be just off of it. You'll see why in a second. Okay, so my case is 1 centimeter tall, and I don't want my lid to be as tall as the case, so I'm going to measure down from the top of that curve 7 millimeters and put a mark. And I want to do this on both sides so that both sides will be equal. This is going to end up being the height of my lid for my case. And now I will put a line on those marks. I need to make some little tabs for the glue. So I'm going to mark them here. It doesn't really matter how big you make them, just make them big enough to be able to hold the glue. And don't make them any taller than where the curved part touches that sideline. This part here is going to be the curved part of the lid. This is trash, and this part, this, and this. And now I'm going to cut all this out. When you're cutting this line right here, make sure that you do not touch that middle marker that you made. Make sure that your cut stops before that, at least a couple of millimeters. Do this on all four sides, making sure that you do not go to that middle line. The best way to cut out the curved parts is with an Exacto knife or a utility blade. A really sharp utility blade is critical for making miniatures. Just be really careful. And this is what it looks like. Now you're going to fold the little side tabs and also those little side curved pieces. But don't fold the lines on that big middle piece. That needs to be curved, like this. On one side you can mark and cut off the excess, but make sure you only do it on one side, not the other side. You need that extra flap on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess just on this side. Now we glue and pinch. Make any little adjustments that you need to with tweezers before your glue sets. And this is why you need that little flap on the back side to glue it to your box. I cut some little strips of paper just for some accent and to make it look a little bit more realistic and finished. Just make sure you don't glue your little box shut if you want to open it later. And that was my dog growling a second ago. I really feel like these little strips of paper are so simple, but they really make a big difference. And there you go. The case is finished. Now it's time for paint. I use crimson and transparent raw umber to give it an aged look. I really am not careful about blending the colors before I put them on. I really just kind of quickly mix them and then apply them and kind of blend them a little bit more on the actual piece because I want it to look kind of vintage and kind of old looking. And these are acrylic paints, by the way. And there you have it, all finished. Now it's ready to go into Howl's moving castle. Everything here was handmade by me. I didn't use any molds or patterns or anything. I just kind of winged it as I went along, and just kind of built it myself using the movie as a reference. I think I've watched the movie like 8 times just in the span of building this. And say hi to Calcifer. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. This book nook is still a work in progress. Okay, thanks, bye.